Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we are here once again, back doing Chasing Light. Hey! So last time we left off a little bit into chapter 5. So yeah, let's get right into this. Mouth opened to reveal teeth that were clenched, but not too violently, not too dramatically. Kate was an expert in reading body language, especially Barry's. He was her main patient, and right now he was very stressed out. It didn't compute. I think yeah, it didn't make sense. Why had he suddenly become afraid? Barry looked up at her, suddenly palms pressed together, and pointed at her. But I, I don't get it. All right. He stepped closer, picture of concern. He spoke more slowly, as if trying to calm himself down long enough to get his point across. It's dangerous. It's not smart. It's not even. He sighed. Started. I don't know. I know that uh, not all Earths have guys like Zoom or Reverb, but you're still going in blind. You don't know what could actually be there. What if there's something like fraud and I'm not there to. And even if Earth 66 is missing all those things, we can't risk sending you in with Savitar, okay? Another sigh. Shorter, and the words got even slower. You've seen what he can do. You can't, I mean, if he decides to go off rails, you're not gonna have any of us there to help you stop him. Caitlin brightened. She then coming to that last part. Well, I was thinking there would be a way I could have connection come back to Kate. Another interrupted again? Barry pinched the bridges of his nose. A miner started just an hour earlier in the pipeline. He looked sad. He looked hurt, fragile, like the day she'd revealed her metahuman powers, and he stared into her, and she knew. He was wondering why he hadn't told him sooner. What is it? Over there on that Earth? What's there that you don't already have right here with you? And then she understood him. Caitlin countenance shuddered. She burst out, Barry, do you do you don't think I'm gonna live there, do you? Barry sat and her were being coated with a thin layer of confusion now. What? You couldn't possibly think I wanted to stay on another Earth, a completely different world, with a man who murdered HR? Barry's eyebrows shot to his hairline. He seemed overflowing with warmth now. His entire body relaxed. Finally, he collapsed into. Oh, thank God. Barry! Caitlin let a relieved, nervous chuckle at that, reaching out to put a hand on his shoulder as he doubled over. I mean, at the most, I was only planning on staying there for a couple weeks, and I'm not even sure if weeks, plural, it's such a good idea. Is such a good idea. His head and heart were discussing. I'm sorry. Barry's grin stayed, but he straightened up and added seriously, You can't go until we figure out how to connect you, rested, reaching for a smug. The warm particles felt wonderful against her always cold palms. See, I think that if Cisco and I could design a communicator, something independent. She smiled triumphantly. It was always satisfying to work out an idea aloud, knowing that I had the capability to succeed. I would just be there as a warm body. Barry's hands were on his hips. He was nodding, looking at the ground as if picturing her plan. That might work, and to be honest, I met hers eagerly. Can't think of anyone better to keep my evil doppelganger on the straight and narrow. Kaylin was never good at accepting compliments. Barry made her own eyes bounce to the floor. I suppose you would know. Kate. Hmm? She glanced up expectantly, all ears. Nodded her hands. You know that's mine. Kaylin's gaze went to her reflection in the coffee. Oh, did this bother him? She blinked at him innocently from the top of the eyes. It's cold and wet out. He was trying not to smile. I haven't touched it, Kaylin complained, giving him her best pleading look. Because of your increased muscles, exercise since becoming the Flash, your body is consistently generating the exact amount of heat it needs to become comfortable, despite any temperature fluxes outside, Caitlin. And that includes fall thunderstorms. Dr. Snow, I want my coffee. She pointed at him sternly. My metahuman properties produce the amethyst. Therefore, I need twice the amount of heat, twice the amount of clothing, and twice the amount of coffee. With that, Kaylin took a lengthy sip, watching the flash without wavering. She licked her lips when she finished setting down the mug. Barry shook his head at her, unable to keep from grinning again. Unbelievable. Kaylin grinned back. She was never happier, safer, or more her content in the general than she was with Barry Allen. From cocky from cocky stranger in and out her workplace to her best friend. Besides, Cisco, of course, she couldn't have sipped from just anyone's coffee. Barry went to stand beside her, leaning against the desk the way she was, the mug between them. He seemed to be thinking along the same lines. He said a little more seriously. Just make sure you come back to us in one piece. Okay. Keelan nodded, no words necessary. Barry wasn't finished yet, eyes tracing her smile. I need you, Kate. I need you here, okay? Promise me you're coming back home. There were few things in the world that felt better than being told you are needed. That without someone whose life would not be quite the way they wanted it to be, no one could hear such thing as a few negative towards it. It was just something you longed for. Kaylin was no exception, and hearing it from Barry's cemented into her mind. I promise. Barry gave her one of those bear hugs only he could give. Kaylin had discovered earlier in life that Henry Allen could hug almost the same way, but Barry's were tighter. Barry Allen seemed reluctant to let go of the people close enough to hug, reluctant to let go of anyone he loved. He wanted to be the same person without them, and they just had seen that in a flash. In the flash, Flash currently residing in the basement of Star Labs with a frequency equalizer strapped to his wrist. That was why she had to go, just for a short time. She had to help Savitar, reminding that he did not have to be alone, that he could be what he been so long ago. So they broke apart. Barry poked the silence by saying, "Okay, but that is my coffee." Oh, this coffee? For real? Right now? The rest of Team Flash was not quite as easily convinced. Maybe it was because none of them were Barry, so they didn't see that Kaylin was the perfect person to lead Savitar into his new life. Maybe it was because none of them were Caitlin, who had seen a glimmer of the person Savitar could still be. and was determined to give him the chance to choose what was right. Or maybe it was just because Salvatore was looking particularly smug and brooding as they gathered in Starlad's basement 2 days later, preparing to send him off. Helen had waited until just before they were ready to open the breach, when she announced that she would be going with the Godspeed. Joe was the first to respond, obliged, after the son's sentence. "You gotta be kidding me." So Caitlin had launched into her explanation, the same one she gave Barry, who was beside her, though the entire lecture carrying her two enormous duffel bags. The team had all let her stay here, say her piece, of course, but the moment she finished, the protests and questions shot towards her like bullets. "Where are you gonna stay?" Joe demanded, pointing at Caitlin to Salvatore with a father's warning tone. "With him?" Caitlin took a deep breath. "Barry and I looked into it yesterday, and we found there's a Star Labs on Earth 66 too." "So what? You're just gonna crash with your doppelganger for a couple weeks, braid each other's hair, swap science theories?" Cisco scoffed. Though he'd been told before others, he seemed uncomfortable with the details. "So where are you from, other Caitlin?" "Oh, Earth 1. They've got great burgers. You love it. I bet there's going to be a real fun conversation to have." "Actually, Cisco." Caitlin cleared her throat, her eyes on her shoes. Earth 66, Caitlin Snow, is dead too." "Convenient," Sauter interrupted, voice higher than usual. He didn't seem swayed by the information. "It is," Caitlin agreed, trying to remain patient. "Everyone employed at Star Labs on that world had been dead for at least 4 years." She glanced at Cisco. "Ever since the particle accelerator exploded?" Cisco finished, closing his eyes just for a moment. "Which means there's no Cisco Ramon either, or Ronnie, or Wells, or an Iris West." Caitlin added, carefully studying their iris. Joe opened his mouth, stepping forward. Barry stopped him from asking by recountering. "She was a cop, just like Earth 2's Iris West. She was stationed as a security that night the accelerator fell." "So, Wally introduction, you're saying this Earth is basically a dump." "For real," Cisco agreed. His right hand clung to his wide goggles. Careful not to smudge the glass. He held up a finger on the other for each Everson's party as he ruffled it. "No Barry, no Cisco, no Caitlin, no Ice. Is there Wally?" "Down, boy." "So that's it." Joe's hands rested on his belt. "We're gonna just let you hop to another Earth without any backup?" Cisco cleared his throat very loudly. "You seriously think I'm going to send my homegirl to another universe while a multi-dimensional walkie-talkie?" Cisco pursed her lips as the group's eyes turned on her. She fished into her lab coat pocket, pulled out and showing off Cisco's communication device. It looked like a regular walkie-talkie, except of course there was a lightning bolt signature. "You should be able to reach me at any time for any reason with this." Caitlin smiled at her partner. "Cisco was done with it in an hour." "No. Okay. So did that end?" "No, it's still going. Sorry, guys. I need to check something." Um. Smiled, but looked a little forced. Ursa's arms were folded. She was looking at Salvatore, who was point blank staring at the far wall. "I guess I'm wondering why." But before either of them could say anything, Salvatore declared rudely because from the corner. "Because she offered?" They were all glowering at him, clearly not finished with their interrogation. But he hiked up his own bags over his shoulder and approached the center of the room, indifferent to the many pairs of eyes following him with undiscussed mistrust. "I don't know about you, but I'm kind of getting hungry. And since we have to go through the breach, before I get to eat, can we just speed this thing up a little? Team Flash. Says Scout. Oh, of course. Yeah, let me just do that. Oh, wait. He pulled off his goggles over his head, letting them hang around his neck. I just remembered there's a lifelong friend you'll potentially never see again. Should go some wrong. A little world hopping number. I'll be a minute. Do you mind? Cisco took his time approaching Caitlin, passing Souter with deliberately raised eyebrows. When he reached out, he enormously evaporated and wrapped his arms around her so tightly that she was afraid her rib cage might burst. "You don't come back. I'll get your lab, okay?" He said to her hair. Caitlin laughed. If I don't come back, I want you to find my body and bury me. And Joe lifted her off her feet. When she sat down, he lowered his voice, running through the list of defensive maneuvers and strategies should Saboteur go rogue. "If anything goes wrong over there, you call us. You got it?" "Roger." Caitlin bit her lip. "Sorry. Do please say that 10-4, good to go." She even offered a ginger salute. Joe was chuckling. Joe was chuckling before she had to pause for breath. Wally's smile was wide. His hug didn't quite lift her off the ground, but he squeezed her the way his big brother did. "Don't stay away too long. He's gonna nag me to do my exercises." Cisco patted his shoulder just once. "I'll get Sis to go on that. Besides, your leg is almost fully healed. You've been patient." The future Mrs. West Island seemed to like chocolate and throw pills. "We're gonna miss you. Don't forget about us, Caitlin. I've set only 2 real requests. Take lots of pictures. You never know. Their city might be nicer than this one." She glanced over, shoulder at the man in black to his back to her. "And take care of him." Caitlin nodded, following Iris's gaze. She got the feeling Iris could see a little more than just a broken copy too. Take care of him. At least a pulse of fear gave her a slight headache. Who would take care of her? Of course, Barry didn't let her go without one more tight embrace. He was the longest out of everyone. In those 3 minutes he held her, Caitlin had answered her, the worried drain out of her. How could she be afraid? She still had her own personal superhero. I'm right here, okay?" Barry murmured in her ear. He was practically crushing her lungs. "Not alone in this. We're all here for you." One call away. Held up the walkie-talkie, matched hers, finally pulling it out. He had his other hand squeezed left one. "Don't forget your promise, Dr. Snow." "I'll be home before you know it, Mr. Allen." As they moved to give Cisco room to breathe, Caitlin saw Savitar watching her out of the corner of her eye. She had her head held high, trying to remain composed. It wouldn't be forever. It'd be a few weeks. Already she was missing them, missing the heat they provided. She'd still be all in the same room with her. A blinding blue light filled the basement, and a whirl of clouds and energy opened from thin air. Cisco's goggles were on, his brow beaded with sweat. "Savitar?" Barry called suddenly. Savitar turned gingerly, as if to move to quickly heard. "Flash?" Barry's expression was a new kind of knowing, something deep Caitlin had never seen on him before, couldn't identify. She got the feeling Savitar would understand exactly what it was. Don't screw it up. Inspirational speeches were something Barry seemed to have perfected over time, so don't screw it up was not what Caitlin had been expecting. But it fit. He was still always surprising her. Savitar didn't lash out or some sarcastic retort. He didn't make any condescending faces. Instead, he nodded once and entered the portal. For a minute, Caitlin didn't know if she could do it. She must convince herself she couldn't. In those 2 steps towards the light, how could she leave them? For even a few weeks, for even a few hours, they were all she had. A look from over her shoulder calmed her. Barry was looking back. He lifted her hand. Kaelin raised her own right hand, wavering back, trying to remain composed before the jump. She stepped through and everything went white. Alright, so I'm gonna stop here. Yeah. Part 1, whatever, I mean. Anyways, I will see you all next time. Be good to each other. Don't be total jerks. And bye.